You've barely said goodbye to your childhood when the forge calls you to the fire literally. It's 13th century England, and you're just 12 years old. Your world isn't filled with toys or laughter. It's shaped by the clang of hammer on metal and the heat of burning coals in your small village. You've been chosen for one thing, to become a blacksmith. But let's be clear, this is not the glamorous world you imagine. There's no song to tell of your life as a medieval blacksmith, no lavish titles or fortunes. Your world is made up of one thing and one thing only: fire, the one thing that will either forge you into something strong or break you in the process. Your heartbeat now syncs with the rhythm of the anvil. Every strike, every hammer blow, becomes a part of you. It's your lifeline, your life's rhythm. Without it, you're nothing. And you'll soon find that every day spent in the forge is not just another day, it has a fight for survival. You don't get to choose your future, you race shaped by the flames and the metal of your craft. And with every swing of your hammer, you're making more than just iron, you're making your future. You've been thrown into your apprenticeship at the age of 12. Learning what it means to forge not just metal, but your future. The master smith is harsh, no sympathy, no handouts. Your life now revolves around cleaning, hauling coal, and ensuring the fire never dies. You're not just learning how to make things, you're learning how to survive. Every day is a test. The beatings are the least of your worries, it's the ever-present burns that will haunt you. Blisters, just part of the job. They're battle scars. It's not about getting it right, it's about surviving the endless grind. And no one gets to skip the struggle. Mistakes, you'll learn them the hard way. One wrong hammer swing, and the only thing you're crafting is your own humility. If you survive your apprenticeship, congratulations, you're already tougher than half the knights you'll arm, because while you're hammering out the weapons for battle, your battles are fought with fire and steel. And those knights, they might wear their shiny armor, but it's you who gives them the tools to survive their battles. Apprenticeships, they were a crucial part of medieval life. From the age of 12, young men like you were taken on as apprentices to master blacksmiths, where they'd spend 7 years learning their trade. These apprenticeships weren't just about blacksmithing skills, they were about survival. Blacksmiths were vital in the Middle Ages. You weren't just making swords, you were helping to shape the fate of battles, ensuring the health and safety of the community. No one would want to live without your services. But you didn't get the recognition. Instead, you spent years in the shadows, just another forge worker, doing what was needed for others' survival. As a medieval blacksmith, you're not just hammering out swords and shields, those are for the rich, the kings and warriors. You're here to survive, and that means making everything essential for daily life. You're the one crafting horseshoes, nails, farming tools, and even locks and hinges for the village. There's no glamour in it, just the grind of making things people need to get through their day. Forget fighting in battles, your battlefield is the forge, where every piece of metal counts, in a world where iron was rare and costly. Blacksmiths were essential to almost every aspect of medieval life. They made tools for farmers, locks for houses, and nails for construction. In fact, many blacksmiths were also responsible for making horseshoes. Without them, cavalry armies couldn't operate, and most villages couldn't thrive. But not only that, blacksmiths were sometimes called upon for medical services. They didn't just forge weapons, they had tools that could also be used for dentistry and surgery. They'd use their tongs and iron for things far less glamorous, like pulling teeth or setting broken bones. Talk about multitasking. Your toolbox says carpenter, but your customers treat you like a doctor. The reality: you're just a man with a hammer, pretending not to panic every time someone asks for a minor tooth extraction or quick fix on a broken limb. You're not saving lives, you're praying you don't make things worse. As a blacksmith, you're both respected and feared. The fire, the heat, the magic of shaping metal. People see you as a sort of dark wizard. Someone who can bend iron like clay, someone who deals with the mysterious forces of the world. They don't just see a craftsman, they see someone who wields power, someone who might just have pacts with the devil. Your reputation as a smith often crosses into realms of suspicion. Witchcraft, alchemy, and dark magic are all tied to the idea of forging. After all, you're the one shaping metal elements of the earth into tools of power. The fire you work with is dangerous, your tools are precise, and your craft is seen as something beyond the grasp of common folk, positioned at the center of the village. You're not just physically at the heart of it, but socially too, when there's a problem. The village turns to you. When the Lord needs armor for his soldiers, he turns to you. And when the village needs its axes sharpened or its locks fixed, you're the one they turn to. You're respected, but you're also feared for your association with the dark elements of forging. You're admired in the daylight, the hero of the village, but whispered about at night. Half craftsman, half sorcerer, mostly just exhausted. You've been called witch and devil's servant. But when the village needs something fixed, you're the first they call. It's a funny thing, everyone wants a sword, but no one asks where the magic comes from. As a blacksmith, your work isn't just about creating things people need. It's about arming the army. Castles and lords rely on you for everything from swords to maces. From mail armor to rivets. Every campaign means a long, exhausting stretch of work, especially when you're tasked with forging arrowheads by the thousand. The thing is, one smith can supply an entire garrison. You're the backbone of a medieval army's weaponry, crafting each blade and nail that keeps the kingdom's soldiers equipped. The life of a knight, that glittering idea of glory, depends on your hammer. But you'll never get to see that glory. You don't fight in wars. Your job is to make the sharp things that make wars happen. They live for battle. You live for the forge. No medals, no accolades, just another sword at the ready. You don't fight in wars. You just make the sharp things that make wars possible. Every knight's glory runs through your hammer. And when they die, guess who's there to fix their swords? Spoiler alert, it's not the guy who got stabbed. It's you, back in the hot, sweaty forge, sharpening blades that were used to stab someone for a chunk of land. In a world of fire and forging, injuries aren't just common, they're a badge of honor. You'll get burned every day. Scars become something you wear proudly, reminders of the hellfire you endure. But it doesn't stop there. Forge accidents, they're not just theoretical, they happen. You'll lose fingers, crush your toes under an anvil, or worst of all, go blind from the constant exposure to forge fumes. Blacksmiths of the medieval era didn't just work with iron. They breathed in the very smoke and dust that made their bodies brittle. Lead poisoning was common, especially when working with soldering and casting metals. A blacksmith's exposure to fumes and heat meant that by the time they were in their 30s, they were already plagued by chronic illness. These were the hidden costs of a profession that demanded strength and endurance, but gave nothing back. You ray coughing black dust before you ray 30. Forget dying in battle, your killer is your chimney. You're inhaling smoke and lead with every swing of the hammer. The only thing more dangerous than that blade you just made is the air you're breathing. And yet, you're still here, making another sword for someone else to swing. Asterisk asterisk, don't worry though, when you die, at least you'll die honorably, with lungs full of metal dust. The hammer's rhythm is constant, but the rewards rarely ever match the work. You're used to the sweat pouring down your face as you heat iron-shaped steel, and bend your back into work that feels endless. But in medieval England, your payment doesn't always come in the form of gold coins. Most of the time, payment is given in food, ale, or livestock, anything but hard currency. When a nobleman orders armor, you may get some chickens for your trouble or a tankard of ale, maybe a cow if you're lucky. It's a hard trade, but always in demand. The peasants need tools. The lords need armor. You're the one who keeps the world working. But you're too busy hammering to notice the clock ticking on your chance to get rich. Blacksmiths in medieval society rarely starved because their work was vital, especially in times of war. But the reality of the economy meant that while the work was constant, the wealth was scarce. A knight could own land, a lord could tax, but you'd get a chicken and a bit of bread if you were lucky. You make gold for kings out of iron for peasants. Just don't expect any of it to stay in your pocket. Gold for the lord's coffers, rest for your hands. A knight wears your work in battle. You wear his scorn in your workshop. It's not all iron and sweat, though. As a blacksmith, you're also a spiritual figure. Your work isn't just about making tools, it's about shaping fate. Villagers come to you for more than just nails and horseshoes. They need charms, nails for coffins, wedding rings, all crafted with the power of the forge. In many villages, you're seen as something of a mystic. Your ability to bend metal gives you an air of power. Some even believe you can ward off evil spirits. But there's a catch. You might bless church bells by day, but by night, you're the one accused of witchcraft and sorcery. It's a paradox. You're revered and feared in equal measure. You make church bells by day, and devil's tools by rumor. Either way, your soul's apparently booked. You hammer out crosses for churches, and yet, somehow, you're the one people are praying away from. The best part? You have to smile while they hand you a coin and a Bible. But as the centuries go by, the world changes, and your place in it starts to erode. With the rise of industry and specialized trades, bladesmiths, armorers, farriers, your village workshop is no longer the heartbeat of the community. But don't think it's over for you yet. In the smaller, rural villages, you remain essential. Even into the 19th century, your hammer still rings out in a world of machines, though you race starting to wonder whether anyone will ever remember the work that went into each piece of iron. The walls you helped build, the weapons that fought wars, and the rings exchanged at weddings, they were all shaped by your hands. While the Industrial Revolution slowly began replacing traditional blacksmiths, their legacy remains. Even today, the phrase "made with the hands of a craftsman" carries weight, though we often forget the medieval blacksmith was the original craftsman. You're not remembered in songs like knights or kings, but every sword swung, every door shut, and every field plowed was shaped by your hands. Sure, you're not a legend. You're just the guy who made the sword that stabbed it in the first place. Your life as a medieval blacksmith wasn't glamorous. It was hot, brutal, and thankless. But without you, the Middle Ages wouldn't have had wars, walls, or weddings. So, next time you pick up your tools, remember, somewhere in history, someone like you made it all possible. Would you rather live the life of a knight in shining armor or the man who made that armor? Subscribe, because history isn't forged in books. It's hammered into blood, iron, and fire.